The Metaverse is just a place where you can escape, and it's a place where so many consumers are, and you talk to like a 13, 14-year-old, they're in there all day. That's where they're hanging out with their friends, they're going shopping, they're hanging out. So this new generation is in the Metaverse, and that has nothing to do with crypto or any of that. It's just a place where people can go and be their digital identity and be an avatar and be able to be whoever they want to be. And it's been exciting because I've been excited about the Metaverse before there was even a name for it. Like back in 2017, I was already mapping myself out, and I created this place called Paris World, and you could come and be an avatar and hang out with people and be able to purchase items. And now I've launched 3 different metaverses, and I'm just glad that the technology has finally caught up to me.
Welcome to CES 2023. Let's have a listen at what Paris Hilton has to say about the Metaverse and what we can expect in the future, or what she thinks will happen in the future with the Metaverse. If you don't know this already, she was the original influencer. She's known as the Queen Influencer and the Queen of the Metaverse.
I'm such an undercover nerd, so I'm always constantly just like a student of the game with everything.
This talk is so interesting, yet her answers are so simple and relatable. Comment below whether you agree or disagree with her take on the Metaverse. Now, let's have a listen.
A lot of cheers. Anyone like to join us up here? Wow. So after seeing that video, it's no surprise that Paris has been called the original influencer. You've been spotting and creating buzz long before you trademarked the catchphrase, "That's hot," in what year? 2004, Paris. So I will say to you, that's hot. Okay?
Thank you.
The truth is, Paris, as we've gotten to know each other, I've come to the conclusion, as so many have, that you are far more than an influencer. You are influential, and there's a difference. And something I know you'll be digging into more when your memoir comes out in March, which is exciting. March 14th, I think.
Yes.
And we certainly can't wait to see that and read it. I'd love to start, Paris, by just kind of diving in. And if you could tell the audience, and we've certainly got a full house here today, if you could tell the audience a bit about your journey, and really not culminating, but to the point we are now with 11/11, and really give us a little bit of background and your personal rebranding against the backdrop of 2023. Here we are.
Yeah, I'm so excited what we're doing with my media company, 11/11. We are doing businesses across all verticals, from television to film to audio to digital to the Metaverse, products, branding, and it's just been incredible what we have achieved so far. And just partnering up with different brands, and with Hilton, Mark and I have been working together, and it's just been so fantastic. And a lot of projects in the Metaverse and Web3. So it's just so exciting that I get to do so many things that I love, and now have a full machine behind me with a team of the most brilliant and talented people who are experts in every lane. So yeah, it's pretty epic.
Pretty epic. I would certainly agree with that. Mark Weinstein, as Chief Marketing Officer of Hilton, a brand that's, I think, around the same age as I am, about 103, maybe 104. I don't know. That's how I feel when I'm in this audience. But I'm not in the audience, but I'm in this audience. I think the Hilton brand is 103 years old, and it's certainly a brand that stands above the fray in terms of standing for something. But it's a legacy brand, and no different than Paris was a legacy brand. It's hard to imagine I'm saying that. but Paris Hilton was a legacy brand. Hilton is a legacy brand. How do you, in your role as Chief Marketing Officer, keep that brand vibrant and fresh and reinvent it?
Yeah, well said. And first, let's get the elephant out of the room. You know, what kind of marketing genius markets CMO at Hilton and says we need Paris Hilton to be on his team? That's some incredible marketing prowess right there. Let's go back to 103 years. So 103 years ago, Paris's great-grandfather, Conrad, founds the company. And he says one of the greatest purposes I think any company has ever said, which is our job would be to fill the earth with the light and warmth of hospitality. Pretty big. Then he goes on to say we can achieve world peace through travel. That if we can set up places that people feel comfortable across the world, they'll go out and explore, they'll meet other cultures, and they'll realize the world is much smaller than they see. So you go on this journey, and in so many ways, what we do today is the same thing we did 103 years ago, create incredible stays. But how we go to market has changed quite a bit. We now have 18 brands, over 7,000 hotels, 120 countries around the world, and territories around the world, 146 million Hilton Honors members. So what's missing now is the cultural relevance. How do you tell that story? And so we thought a lot. We partnered with our folks at TBWA and started thinking about what's missing from hotel marketing. And when you watch all the commercials, including our own and all the content, the hotel was missing, right? We were glorifying the transformative power of travel, but not really talking about the fact that it matters where you stay. At the end of the day, at the heart of a great trip is a great stay. So if that's your purpose, if that's your being in the world, you want to find people who can tell that story authentically. So we're working with hundreds of influencers with micro niche communities that tell that story. But the other part of Hilton's legacy is being at the center of culture. And when you think about what Conrad did and what Barron did, putting Elvis in residency here in Las Vegas, taking Elizabeth Taylor around the world, John and Yoko having the bed in at the Hilton in Amsterdam, who could best manifest Hilton and culture but Paris Hilton, Hilton and culture? And so we thought this opportunity to tell the story in a bigger way made a ton of sense. And what I love about our partnership is the name and the brand brings the followers to the table, but the person, Paris as a person, her authentic story about staying in our hotels, what it means to you to have grown up in the Waldorf Astoria, what it means to be carrying on your family's legacy, that's truly authentic content. It doesn't get better or more authentic than that. And maybe just one other thing, because I think you're too modest to say it. You know, when Paris comes back from a trip and you watch your content, it's not about the beautiful building or the amenities of the hotel. It's about the team members and the people you meet along the way. And Paris will tell us that she remembers the name of the guy who greeted her at the pool 30 years ago, and it just makes his life, the magic you bring to the table. So, long-winded answer to say, you know, our purpose hasn't changed. We're here to create exceptional stays for our guests. How we do it's changed, and trying to be relevant in culture, we need partners like Paris to do that.
Well, and it's so well said, Mark, and this morning when I had the privilege of interviewing Ed Bastian, the CEO of Delta, we talked about what he was trying to do to the experience in the air. It's not just getting from here to there. Yes, that's important, but that experience, that interactivity, the connectivity, they're going to now have free Wi-Fi. Is Hilton going to do that anytime soon?
We do. For our Hilton Honors members, you get free Wi-Fi.
I'm trying to help everybody.
You're already there. No charge for that device.
There you go. Oh, see, we got something free. It's good. But let me flip back for a second. Paris, you've been kind of known inextricably for sliving, and it's a catchphrase. And last year, Mark, you debuted a campaign that really talked about it matters where you stay. How did that campaign come together? I'm curious because the inspiration is always interesting as well as the execution.
Sure, maybe I'll start and then you can jump in because I think Paris is what made the magic come to life. When we looked at the world, again, nobody was talking about that it mattered where you stay, not to use that phrase, but we talk about what you get to do eating goji berries on a surfboard in the middle of the ocean somewhere. That's not most people's travel experience. You just want a home base where you can do whatever it is you're trying to do. And so the hotel was missing from the story, and so we thought, well, we need to remind people that it does in fact matter where you choose to stay. And we found a number of humorous, fun, bold ways to show that story in our commercials, in our TV advertising, and in social, but we then wanted to partner with Paris to show what it means when Paris travels and what it means when you stay. And so it was a true collaboration to create those spots.
Yeah, it was so much fun, and if you don't know what sliving is, it's a word that I invented in 2019, and it means slaying and living your best life. And it's a lifestyle and a movement. So when you guys called me about this, I was so excited, and they came in with Shia Day, and we had like a 6-hour meeting at my house, and just going over all of these ideas, and then when they brought us the final ideas, I was just laughing so hard. I'm like, this is like, it's something like watching a comedy film. And it was just so on brand for me, and my dogs were in it. It was just so cute, and I've gotten so many calls about it, and it's just really fabulous marketing, so I'm so proud to be a part of it.
They said, let's cast some dogs for Paris. She goes, no, we're bringing my own. This is my commercial, my life, which I'm doing. And I think if Paris, if you've coined living, I should have MIDing, which is mediocre living. Seems like we're on the same footing.
I like that. Yeah, I think you could
trademark that now.
Exactly.
We'll keep working it. We'll workshop it.
Paris, I want to come back to what I said at the outset. You've done such a brilliant job of kind of, being true to who you are, but yet reinventing not who you are, but how the public looks at you and appreciates you. And within 1111, you've been working with a lot of brands, Hilton being one of them, but you're actually helping brands in the creation and the ideation of their messaging. And you're learning a lot along the way, because you and I have chatted about that, of how brands are operating. But again, you're a brand, separate from being a person, you're a brand. And that reinvention has worked so well. Are there tips that, there's a lot of marketers in this audience, are there tips that you can share, at least to tease everybody with some of your thinking around particular tips for brands as they're trying to stay ahead of the cultural opportunities? And as I said on an earlier panel today, it's always delicate and dangerous to try and anticipate culture. You have to get there at the right time. If you get there too early, it's not good, and if you get there too late, it's not good. It's finding that sort of Goldilocks moment, that just right. So, any thoughts? Any ideas?
What was the question?
Oh, busted really badly. Tips for brands.
Okay, the tips. My tips are just to be authentic. I think the consumers are so smart, and they know when they're being marketed, and I think people don't like to be like things shoved in their face like that. I think it's more about being authentic and really aligning with different creators and artists that you want, that really align with your brand, and coming out with a fun message. And that's something that I always think about every time we're doing something.
Well, the idea of a fun message is really interesting, because a famous comedian, Joan Rivers, literally said, and I can't believe I'm up here on the stage at CES quoting Joan Rivers, but I am. So have it your way. That was Burger King, right? Sorry, wrong. But she said famously, if you make someone laugh, you give them a mini vacation. And I really thought that was such a brilliant comment, because that's true. Whatever you're thinking, whatever you're doing, whatever moment it is, how mucked up the world might be, if somebody makes you laugh, you get a little respite, you get a vacation. So finding fun in the messaging, even for serious things, I think is a good tip.
I do feel compelled on behalf of the travel industry to say there's nothing like a real vacation there. A long away vacation, you fly somewhere, stay in a hotel maybe.
Subjective. It's a vacation in your mind.
Doesn't ring the checkbook.
Yeah, exactly. As we're talking about reinventing, Paris, you've got another great nickname now, and well-earned as the Queen of the Metaverse. So, being a Jewish prince, it's great for me to be on the stage with the Queen. I have to say that. That includes you too. That's okay.
I'm the spare. I get it.
That's it. You're there. That's good. Don't write a book about it. I kind of want to say something that's been controversial for me over the last couple of weeks. And I said this in an interview this morning. The metaverse and blockchain and Web3 and I'm doing what I shouldn't do, but I'm saying all of that for a moment. I think what marketers have done mistakenly in the last month or so is conflating movement in the Web3, metaverse, blockchain world with crypto and FTX and what's going on kind of over here, and looking at that and painting the entire space with a brush. Have you found that at all? Have you heard people thinking, oh, it's all of that stuff? I mean, if NFTs, if the shark wasn't jumped with Trump issuing NFTs, my politics just came out. I don't know what you could do to, have a Fonz moment and jump the shark, but have you encountered that at all? Are people thinking it's all one big mess, or are they able to make the distinction?
I think if people are not in the space, maybe they would think that, but everyone who I talk to is in the space. So they understand that, you know, some bad actors doesn't mean that everyone is bad, and the metaverse is just a place where you can escape, and it's a place where so many consumers are, and you talk to like a 13, 14-year-old, they're in there all day. That's where they're hanging out with their friends, they're going shopping, they're hanging out. So this new generation is in the metaverse, and that has nothing to do with crypto or any of that. It's just a place where people can go and be their digital identity and be an avatar and be able to be whoever they want to be. And it's been exciting because I've been excited about the metaverse before there was even a name for it. Like back in 2017, I was already mapping myself out, and I created this place called Paris World, and you could come and be an avatar and hang out with people and be able to purchase items. And now I've launched 3 different metaverses, and I'm just glad that the technology has finally caught up to me.
You know, Mark World has no visitors at the moment. If anybody's looking to come to Mark World,
I'm starting to feel bad for Mark. I'm telling you.
I'll come to Mark World.
Thank you, Paris. +1. There we go. I do think, though, the root of your question, though, is even more bigger meta, if you will, pardon the expression, which is I think marketers that start with the tool and the tactic first are already making a mistake, right? Because it's everything Paris said earlier. It's about authentic connection and telling a story and having great content, letting creators create, and the modality will come and go. I don't know what the modalities will be in 10 years from now, but the same principle.
Well, save that because I'm going to ask you that. That's another question.
I'll think of an answer by then. But in the meantime, you know, we have to think about what we're trying to do and then figure out how to use the technology to do it. And that's why I think Paris has been so successful, is that it's the connection to her fans she's always been doing, and it's just a different way to do it now, versus saying we must have a Web 3.0 solution, we must have an NFT. That's a backwards way to approach marketing, I think.
I agree.
Oh yeah, I was just going to say, that's why I'm so excited about my newest Paris World. We made it a URL web-based, so it's as easy as going to a website. And we just did my 11/11 Media Summit, and then that night we rented out the Santa Monica Pier and did this whole, you know, huge party with Zed and Diplo and me DJing and Tiffany Haddish, and it was just amazing. And we could have.
I was fortunate enough to be there. It was extraordinary. It was a great execution.
I was there. People kept saying, "Who are you and why are you here?"
But we made it so that people in the metaverse could be watching the party and being able to interact live with people, and it was just really interesting just to see so many people, you know, buying virtual tracksuits for $100, and then also being able to order real tracksuits for my new tracksuit line. So that was very interesting, and now we're going to be doing more of these activations, like we just did with L'Oreal and with Levi's.
Great. Mark, you've got a house of brands at Hilton, and each of those brands kind of focuses on different consumers, different stages of life, different consumers, different price points, obviously. As you look at that, and here we are at CES, and we're at the beginning of 2023, what's next for the brand portfolio? I mean, what comes next in terms of your reinvention? You know, holding true to what you do, but having to bear in mind that the Hilton brand is different than the Waldorf brand is different than, you know.
You know, it's an interesting question. So when I first came to the company, I thought, oh, well, we have distinct customers for each of the brands, and we do have some of that. But what often happens is people are transversing the brands for their travel need, right? So you might love staying in a Waldorf Astoria, but for your kid's soccer game, if you're in the middle of, you know, who knows where, a Hampton Inn might be your preferred choice. So part of what we need to do is have 18 brands that each have distinct meanings and cultures behind them and feel like a unique brand. And then some of the innovation is the Hilton innovation that powers all of them. So for example, we have confirmed connecting rooms. So you can actually now as a family book the room next to you and know for sure your kids can be in that room. We have automated upgrades for our honors members where the system's automatically taking care of that for you before you even show up. We're working with Peloton to make sure there's a Peloton in every single US hotel, including some of the rooms. We're working to skip the front desk so you can go right up to your room. So there are core elements of a Hilton experience that exist in all 18 of the brands. And then the brands have personality. So a Waldorf Astoria spa experience is very different than a Hampton breakfast experience, but they're both of a part Hilton, but also unique on their own. And so then on top of that, the question becomes, how do you reach the fans? And some brands do really well on TikTok, some do really well on Instagram, some are Pinterest brands. And so how do you find the modality to tell the right story for not only the customer, but also the trip occasion?
Yeah, it's a good point. Paris, the thing I said to a group I was interviewing earlier today was about the search for the Holy Grail, the demographic that everybody seems to want, that youth demographic. And you've certainly figured out a way to, to really own that demographic in fact. What we've told brands for years is the problem or the challenge is you can't find them because they have to find you. If you find them, it's too late. They've already moved on. But if they find you, that's the revelatory moment. And what we were talking about earlier kind of plays to that. I mean, how do you look at that? I mean, anticipating is not easy, but yet you've done it so well. What was the secret? What was the inspiration to kind of have that foresight and look around the corner? Because honestly, you've done it, in an elegant fashion.
Thank you. I think it's just a gift. I don't know, just maybe being an Aquarius, I'm just a very creative person, and I love to be a risk taker. I love to be a pioneer and a trailblazer and do things first. And I feel like my whole career has really been about that and just been about future thinking, and I'm such an undercover nerd. So I'm always constantly just like a student of the game with everything, and I love doing it all. I love music, I love art, I love beauty, I love wellness, I love
dogs.
Writing, I love animals, yeah. I mean, a doggy clothing line that just came out. I love doing so many things, so yeah, that's what it is when you're just that way.
Well, if there was a way to share that gift with anybody, I'd be first in line, because being able to anticipate what's coming is truly a gift. In that spirit, if we were here 10 years from now, here you go, I told you I was going to ask you more. If we got you to leave Mark World and come back here 10 years from now, because it seems like you're going to be really lonely.
Somebody's got to stand guard in Mark World.
Exactly.
Leave it unattended.
What do you think you'll be finding 10 years from now?
I think what's really interesting is I'm out of the business of predicting the form factor. I mean, I think that is, who knows, there's smarter people than me that will figure that out, whether we're talking about wearables, whether we're talking about the Web 2.5 or Web 3.0, or whether we're talking about going to more of an audio-based thing where your smart device is giving you options instead of a screen. I can't predict that. What I do know is a lot more AI is going to power the things that we're seeing and deciding. And on the one hand, the nerd.
Is this what we tell everybody? This is a hologram, and we're really not.
No. Well, I mean, this is the hologram choice you've made. That's an interesting choice you've made with your budget. I'm just saying. But if you think about it, on the one hand, the nerdy part of me goes, that's really cool. I mean, to have that level of precision and have an algorithm kicking off recommendations. But what's actually a bigger opportunity for us as marketers is those engines are not smart. They're just finding correlations and patterns. So if you want to be known for something, you've got to put a story into the world. So the stories we tell for the next 10 years will dictate what things are cool in culture, what brands it recommends, where it sends people to go do whatever it is they're trying to accomplish. And so as a marketer, it's really incredible to think the technology will be there to help customers experience your brand in a really different way. But the same thing we've been doing for hundreds of years as marketers, which is letting creators create and telling stories, is not going anywhere. It's just changing the form, and that's what's going to feed the engines to move it forward. So that's what I'm most excited about, whether it's the form factor or not. I couldn't tell you that part.
No, but that's insightful, and I appreciate that. Paris, how about you? 10 years from now, what do you think we're going to be experiencing here at the Consumer Electronics Show?
I think it's just going to be, a lot of it I think will be happening in the Metaverse as well. Just all the new gadgets, all these amazing new future video games. I don't know, I love all that. I'm a gamer at heart as well, so I think all of that, and I just think a lot of innovation.
Well, on that note, I want to thank Paris and Mark. It's actually been a pleasure up here in Paris World and Mark World, so I'm happy to be in both. And I really want to thank all of you for joining us today for Marketing Reinvented. It's been a great kickoff to the year, and I want to wish everybody a healthy, happy 2023, and thank you so much.
Thank you.